Thanks for staying with us. Club started live as Leicester City manager with a 2-0 win over Everton, with the visitors rooted now in the relegation zone. With David Unsworth in caretaker charge, Everton were punished by Leicester's pace on the break as Jamie Vardy and a heavily deflated Demarai Gray effort gave them an early advantage. This latest defeat leaves Everton in the relegation zone, having taken just 8 points from their opening 10 games, while Leicester climbed to 11th. Elsewhere, Glenn Murray was on target again as Brighton came from behind to earn a 1-1 draw against Southampton in Sunday's South Coast Fair at the Amex. Cameroonian-born French boxer Carlos Takam says he wants a rematch with International Boxing Federation and World Boxing Association heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. Takam was defeated by Joshua via technical knockout in round 10 of their world heavyweight title fight in Cardiff. The knockout was Joshua's 20th in his 20 professional boxing career fight and means he still remains unbeaten. Takam has now lost 4 of his 40 professional fights, winning 35. Reacting to his loss, Takam, who replaced injured Kubrat Pulev, expressed sadness that the referee decided to stop the fight in the 10th round. All right, Shoggy Tosh joins us now on the show via Skype from the UK. Hello, Shoggy. Quite an interesting weekend of football across Europe, but let's start with the big one. Was that a perfect response from Manchester United against Tottenham?
Yeah, good morning, Mayowa, and good morning, Nigeria. Yeah, that was a wonderful one. Not forgetting the critics, that pursued Mourinho, after that game against Liverpool. As I said, the previous time when we had a chat, Mourinho is a serial winner, as a manager, and he had to just do the business. They were a little bit stronger than when they were playing Liverpool, and obviously they're at home. They have a lot of confidence. They've kept fine clean sheets, 5 consecutive clean sheets and 6 at home. So they know that they have that basis, and you just have to admire Man United the same way you admire Man City with the attacking flair. You have to admire any Jose's side, with the defensive, skills and flair. And it was just interesting that it was just a simple flick on, around the 81st minute that came through, with a flick on from Lukaku, to Martial, and Martial just did the business there. 3 points for Manchester United. Well, you don't forget they're going to play Chelsea, next week, and they still have Benfica, during the week at the Champions League. So that was a very good one. Tottenham, on the other hand, had a little bit of possession, but obviously they missed Kane. They don't want to admit that they're a Kane team, but obviously he's one of the best strikers in the world. You're going to miss that kind of player if he doesn't play.
Well, really solid performance by Manchester United, you alluded to there. And it's really interesting. 8 clean sheets now for United in 10 Premier League games. That's awesome. But Jose Mourinho accused United fans of not supporting Romelu Lukaku enough. He provided the assist for United's last 2 goals now in the Premier League. Should Jose be worried about lack of enough creativity in the side?
I wouldn't say so, as a manager, and when you have great managers, they wouldn't even criticize, their players, in the open. And you could see, Jose doing a sign, to the cameras. And he's quite a, very intelligent manager. And he's never been shy, even when he was at Chelsea, he attacked the side, or the fans, even if he needs to. And, if he feels like, there needs to be more energy from the fans, and he just says, what it means without crossing the line. But obviously, Lukaku is doing the business, he's the highest goal scorer. And when you assist, as a manager, you could even hear Jose saying, that, the game that they lost against Huddersfield, it wasn't just much the losing, but, he didn't feel the energy and the response from them. And he could get that response against Tottenham. And, beating a Tottenham side that drew against Real Madrid, just a couple of weeks ago, that is a huge feat. And, that was a very, very good game. And Jose was just, trying to, just play, the game that he always plays, just kind of laying off players, because he prefers the pressure to be on himself and not on his players.
All right, really interesting. It wasn't a clinical, but Manchester City got the job done at the Hawthorns, 3-2 against West Brom. Worrying signs then for City's shaky defense?
Yeah, we've been talking about City, and it's just so amazing. We have to give kudos to Guardiola. He got a lot of critics, when he came on. Everybody was like, he's one of the best coaches in the world, best managers, best trainers in the world, best managers in the world, and he is very stubborn in a good way. He wants to play the way he wants to play. He didn't have the players, those kind of players, a couple of seasons ago, and let's say a season ago. He didn't have those kind of players, but he's still stuck. And obviously when you you send a Hart, you know, who's the darling in England, you know, as the #1 keeper away, and you're saying you don't want to use him. He had a lot of enemies. But I just love, you know, his resolve, sticking to his guts, and, you know, making sure that, you know, he got in maybe better players. Now he has each player, he has 2 players in each position. And it's just really done an amazing job. And even though it's going to get tiring in the Premiership against West Brom, you know, they considered 2 goals. Not forgetting, you know, even the cup that they played, you know, midweek, you know, against Wolves, you know, it was 0-0. They had to, you know, they needed penalties and extra time, you know, to actually win that game. So it's not going to be easy, but you know that Man City are always going to score goals. And when you have your winger, who is Sané, I'm talking about Sané, that is on the same goals as your 2 highest goal scorers, Aguero and Jesus, you know you have you good season. And, you know, even you know, we're not talking about, you know, so many other players, you know, they're quite good and playing flair football. They had, you know, 78% of the possession, and still, you know, they have, you know, Otamendi is always, you know, a liability at the back. But Stone is doing very well, and, you know, I really admire what Man City are doing right about now.
Quickly, before we move forward, I just want to perhaps one word on this. Many people have said it's going to be the title will head to Manchester at the end of the season. But which half of Manchester really do you think this is heading? They say defenses win you title, but Pep Guardiola is doing it the other way in the blue half of Manchester. Who do you think will nick the title at the end of it all? 5 points separate them as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, we had a chat, you know, a few weeks ago, and I said before December there will be a gap. You know, by that time, you know, they were tie to tie. We're not even December yet, you know, and there's a 5 points gap. But before the season started, you know, I kind of, you know, I like your say. You know, I know your say. You know, we do have a chat. You know, there and then when he's less busy. I like your say, and I like, you know, I would have loved Man United to win, but, you know, Man City. That's where everybody, you know, everybody's tipping. But at the same time, you know, it's still early because things can change. For instance, now, God forbid, you know, if Stone, because for me, Stones is a main player. That is one player that you can't really replace. Not forgetting that, you know, Vincent Kompany, you know, is having a lot of injuries. He's a main player because, like, for instance, David Silva can come in, you know, for De Bruyne. You know, and in each position, he's kind of managed to have, you know, at least someone to fall back to. But Stones and the keeper as well, those are the 2 main players that, you know, if they get injured. So God forbid, you know, if Stones get injured, then, you know, what's going to happen? So anything can still happen. Even though we're still giving the title to Man City, you can't count Tottenham out. You can't count Chelsea out. Okay. Because football is very funny. If you can spin a run of like maybe 5, 6, 7 wins, 10 wins, 15 wins at a go, and then the other team are struggling, maybe injuries or maybe because they're going further in the Champions League, anything can change. But right about now, it has to be Man City. All
right, our jogging club put a friendship aside as Liverpool demolished Huddersfield for their first win in as many games, and they did so without their star men Philippe Coutinho and Sadio Mane. Are their troubles over?
I wouldn't say so. You know, Liverpool's season is just, you know, up in the balance. Obviously, you know, they did well against Huddersfield, the same Huddersfield, you know, that beat, you know, Man United. But it was good, you know, to see that flair and see, you know, the way Liverpool played, and to see Sturridge as well, you know, but back in the fold, that's quite good. But the main challenge is, you know, the in-depth of the squad. Every Premiership side knows that, you know, it's going to be a long season with a number of cups that you're going to play, injuries that you're going to play, the winter period. You know, here in England, there's no winter break, so you need that in-depth side, and that's what Man City and Man United are enjoying. Okay. You know, Man United, they lost Pogba, you know, and they're still trying to play, you know, as they are. But Liverpool are struggling because they don't have that in-depth, and I still think they're going to struggle. They might even struggle to get into the top 4.
All right, Arsenal had to dig deep against Swansea to get maximum points, and Arsene Wenger must be delighted to get a win in his 800th Premier League game at the weekend.
Oh, yeah, you know, I mean, I'm not a huge Arsenal fan. I love the way they play, but, you know, I don't like, you know, what's happening at Arsenal, you know, as a football fan. You love the way they play, but, you know, you just feel like, you know, they need to win a little bit more. And Arsenal really needed that win. I mean, midweek, you know, Wenger had to, like, you know, to kind of defend himself against the shareholders and, you know, kind of saying that, you know, we're going to review everything at the end of the season if he's still going to be at Arsenal. But they really, really needed that win. And you know, at Swansea, you know, Swansea plays, you know, obviously great football. And, you know, they're kind of the bogey team against Arsenal. But Arsenal were able to, you know, to do it deep. You know, that was a tough game, but they needed 3 points, and they just about did it.
All right, a new manager, same old problems then for Everton. They are rooted now in the relegation zone after their latest defeat against Leicester, and it was a perfect start for Fox's manager, Claude Puel, as well.
Yeah. You know, Puel. I wasn't very sure about that appointment because, you know, Puel, even his appearance, you know, his face just looks dull sometimes, and, you know, but he does a great job. not forgetting, that it was at Southampton, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for our Nigerian boys, that were over there as well. I'm so happy for Kelechi, coming in, though just, towards the end of the game, and Everton, they're in a deep position, The rumor is like, they want a big name, and Unsworth, even Daniel Makachi, a few days ago was, clamoring for Unsworth, to be the full-time manager. But they have a struggle, and you can see that the team is not balanced. Obviously, they couldn't replace Lukaku. And the thing in the Premiership, once teams can smell that you're not in a good form and you're not sure of yourself, they capitalize on you. And that's what Leicester did. Leicester just allowed Everton to have the possession. They just, they went back to their style that they did. They just, it was counter-attacks, and they just nicked those 3 points. And Leicester needed those 3 points because they were in a rut as well. They were not winning games. And Everton are in a deep trouble right about now. But
really, where do they go from here with all the investment in the summer? Who can solve their problems? Because they are not where they belong at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, the talks that, they're trying to get Henry back, maybe, obviously, he had challenges with the papers, and there's Anderlecht, the Nigerian, wonderful player, who's having a great season, and they're just trying to see if they can get him back or get him back during January or whatever, maybe he can just provide them a little bit of, firepower, in the front, but, they're in a deep problem, and obviously you could see Leicester too had challenges, but they had to just make up their mind that we need to sack Shakespeare and we need to get in another manager. And you could see that before they sacked Shakespeare, they're already in talks with Puel because they knew exactly what they want to do. Everton need to make up their mind. They need to get in a manager. There are rumors that maybe they want to bring in the big Sam, because they need someone that probably knows the Premiership and stay, because Everton has been in the Premiership. Are they going to get out of the Premiership? That would be quite interesting. There are also rumors that are they going to bring, their old manager back, that went to Manchester United. But they need to quickly make a decision, because if you get stuck in that last bottom 3, it's not easy to get out of it.
All right, away from the Premier League now, there was a shocker at the weekend in Spain. A newly promoted side Girona beating Real Madrid. All hell was let loose when United lost to Huddersfield. How do you explain this latest setback for Real?
Well, that was an interesting one. I was so happy for Kyle Olariwaju. He's a good pal of mine. And I had to send him a message that congrats. And he was just so happy. He was just over the moon. You could see that where I saw pictures from him, in the dressing room, where they were just, having fun and just like, wow, because this is their greatest moment, in their history, playing Real Madrid for the first time and, beating them as well. And it's so interesting when you compare the squads. Girona, they have a squad worth of under £40 million. But Real Madrid, they're close to £700 million. And that's the lovely thing, in football. It was good to see Stuani. Stuani has been doing very well. He used to play for Middlesbrough, and he's been doing very well, scoring, yesterday as well. And it's a shocker. 8 points between Real Madrid and Barcelona. What's going to happen, Real Madrid, relaxing. And it's quite interesting that, there was rumors that, maybe Real Madrid are kind of like poaching. Well, not poaching, but thinking of a replacement for Zidane in the later future from Tottenham's coach. So is Real Madrid losing hope on Zidane after all what he has done? It's quite interesting, but that's a lovely thing about football, and I'm glad to see that in the La Liga, because in the Premiership, that on any day, on a good day, any team can beat any team. At times you don't get that much in the La Liga, but it was good to see that as a neutral, seeing Girona beating Real Madrid.
Quickly now, you alluded to the fact that it's 8 points separating Barca and Real. Is that the end of any hopes of a title defense for Real Madrid?
I think so. In Spain, it's a little bit more difficult. Even in England, normally if you want to win, a title, you don't want to lose more than 3 or 4 games in the whole season. But in the La Liga, even though you can have odd shocks here and there, that Barcelona and Real Madrid, they kind of, keep, you have the odd loss here and there or odd draw there, but they kind of keep their pace. So it normally comes down at times, games between them. And then, at times, even games, between, maybe them and Atletico Madrid or Valencia, or whatever. But still, that 8 points is just a little bit too much. You want to believe that Barcelona, being hungry, wanting to get the title back, will just clinch the title. It's early, but those 8 points, that's a huge gap for Real Madrid to cross.
All right, thank you very much, Shoggy, for your time on the Breakfast Show for this morning.
Pleasure, anytime, Mayowa.
All right, that's where we ended on Sport for this morning on the Breakfast Show. I'm Mayowa Ajayi. Thanks for watching.